It's sentencing day for the woman who killed a coworker last year at a Bethesda yoga store. ABC
We've learned a judge will listen to the arguments before sentencing Brittany Norwood in a hearing this afternoon. Prosecutors through the store and tying herself up.
It began inside a high-end yoga store on a quiet night in Bethesda, Maryland. Two women closed the doors after a long shift, but only one of them would ever walk out alive. Hours later, the store manager would arrive to find one of the most disturbing crime scenes police in the area had ever witnessed. A young woman lay brutally murdered, more than 300 wounds covering her body. Next to her, another woman was found bound, bruised, and claiming they had both been attacked by masked intruders. But investigators soon discovered that the truth was far more sinister. This wasn't a random act of violence. This was a staged massacre, and the killer was standing right there, pretending to be a victim. You're watching More Crime, where we uncover the darkest true stories and peel back every layer until the truth can't hide. New videos are uploaded every third day, so if you want more cases like this one, chilling, real, and unforgettable, make sure to subscribe. This is the case of Jaina Murray, the woman whose life was cut short in what would later be called the Lululemon murder. It was the evening of March 11, 2011. The Lululemon Athletica store in Bethesda Row was closing for the night. Two employees, Jaina Murray, 30, and her coworker Brittany Norwood, 28, finished their shifts, locked up, and went their separate ways. At least, that's how it was supposed to end. But just minutes later, Brittany called Jaina. She claimed she had forgotten her wallet inside the store and needed to go back. Jaina, always the responsible colleague, agreed to meet her. Security footage later showed the two women re-entering the store around 10 p.m. That was the last time Jaina was seen alive. Sometime in the hours that followed, something inside that yoga shop turned violent. Investigators would later piece together that an argument broke out. Brittany had a history of stealing, small things like merchandise and personal items. And Jaina may have confronted her about it. What began as words spiraled into rage. The attack that followed was nothing short of savage. Jaina was struck, stabbed, and beaten with at least 7 different weapons found inside the store: a hammer, a wrench, a box cutter, even a mannequin peg. By the time it was over, she had suffered 331 separate injuries. The brutality shocked even the most seasoned detectives. This wasn't a quick murder, it was a prolonged, frenzied assault. But Brittany wasn't finished. To cover her tracks, she staged the scene. She dragged Jaina's body to the back, smeared blood across the walls, and put on a pair of men's sneakers to create fake footprints, making it look like intruders had broken in. Then she bound her own wrists and ankles with zip ties, leaving herself lying on the floor as if she too had been attacked. The next morning, when coworkers arrived, they walked into what they thought was the aftermath of a horrific robbery. Instead, they had stumbled into one of the most disturbing staged crime scenes in Maryland's history. The next morning, March 12, 2011, the Lululemon Athletica store manager arrived to open up. But something immediately felt wrong. The front door was unlocked, the lights were still on, and the store was eerily silent. Stepping inside, she saw signs of chaos: clothing racks knocked over, shelves disturbed, smears of blood on the floor. Within moments, she heard a faint noise from the back room. Terrified, she called out for help and soon another employee joined her. What they found would leave them shaken for life. In the back hallway lay two women. One of them, Jaina Murray, was lifeless, her body brutally battered. Blood pooled beneath her, and the sheer scale of her injuries was almost incomprehensible. Close by, her coworker Brittany Norwood was still alive. She was bound with zip ties, her clothes torn, blood on her body, whispering that they had been attacked by two masked men who broke in after closing. To the horrified coworkers, Brittany's story sounded convincing. The scene looked like a robbery gone wrong. There were bloody footprints, large, men's shoe sizes, leading through the store. Merchandise was scattered. Jaina's car had been moved and abandoned down the street. Everything pointed to outsiders. When police arrived, they were immediately confronted with a grisly puzzle. The violence was staggering. Jaina had suffered hundreds of wounds, far more than typical in a robbery. Investigators noted the frenzy, the rage, the sheer overkill. Yet, in contrast, Brittany's injuries were surprisingly minor: shallow cuts, superficial bruises, nothing life-threatening. Still, with Brittany claiming she was a survivor of a horrific attack, detectives initially treated her as a victim. The theory of two men in ski masks committing the crime seemed plausible in those first chaotic hours. But small details didn't add up. Why were only women's items missing? Why did the intruder footprints look too deliberate, too staged? And why had Brittany survived when Jaina had been killed with such brutality? It wouldn't take long before investigators realized the unthinkable: the supposed survivor was actually the killer. At first, Brittany Norwood was seen as a victim. She told detectives that after closing the store, she and Jaina were ambushed by two masked men who forced them back inside. According to her account, the men beat them, assaulted her, and murdered Jaina before fleeing. It sounded horrifying, but the deeper police looked, the less it made sense. The crime scene itself began speaking louder than Brittany's words. Investigators studied the bloody footprints carefully. Most were made with the store's own shoes, dipped in blood and pressed onto the floor. It looked staged, almost like someone had deliberately walked in patterns to mimic intruders. Even more telling, DNA testing revealed that no unknown men had been inside, only Jaina and Brittany. Detectives also examined Brittany's injuries. They were shallow, almost self-inflicted in appearance. None matched the brutality inflicted on Jaina. How could intruders unleash over 300 wounds on one woman but leave the other with just scratches? As they dug deeper, the motive slowly came into focus. Store records showed that Brittany had a history of stealing merchandise. Just days earlier, she had been caught hiding yoga pants in her bag. Jaina, known for her professionalism, had confronted her about it. That night, investigators believed, the confrontation escalated. Phone records added another layer of suspicion. While Brittany claimed she was tied up for hours, her phone activity suggested otherwise. And Jaina's car, found abandoned, carried evidence pointing back to Brittany. Bit by bit, the story Brittany told was crumbling. The two masked men didn't exist. The robbery was a cover-up. The footprints were staged, the bindings on her wrists loosely tied by her own hands, the injuries shallow scratches designed to sell her lie. What truly shocked detectives, though, was the sheer brutality. Jaina hadn't just been killed, she had been tortured in an explosion of rage. Investigators later counted at least 331 separate wounds on her body, inflicted with multiple weapons: a hammer, a wrench, a knife, even a merchandise hanger. The killing was not only violent but deeply personal. By the time evidence was fully processed, the truth was undeniable: Brittany Norwood wasn't a victim. She was the murderer. At first, Brittany Norwood was seen as a victim. She told detectives that after closing the store, she and Jaina were ambushed by two masked men who forced them back inside. According to her account, the men beat them, assaulted her, and murdered Jaina before fleeing. It sounded horrifying, but the deeper police looked, the less it made sense. Jaina's death is a haunting reminder that danger doesn't always come from the outside. Sometimes, it's standing right beside us, smiling, hiding behind lies until the mask finally slips. As we close this case, one question lingers: how could something so violent, so senseless, unfold inside a yoga store in one of the safest towns in America? That's the chilling reality of the Jaina Murray case. If you found this story gripping, make sure to subscribe to Noir Crime. We bring you a new true crime story every third day. Until then, stay safe, and stay alert.